Today on the Hacker Show, we're going to be comparing two powerful tools used for generating test automation scripts. One of them is called Playwright Codegen, and the other is the SeleniumBase Recorder. Get ready for some serious hacking. Both these tools are very capable of generating automation scripts for you. However, there are some noticeable differences, such as being able to perform hover and click actions, clicking in iframes, clicking in shadow root, drag and drop actions, and a few other things, such as stealth mode. So we'll get to these differences later, but first, let's get started with a live demo. So we're going to be running a Playwright Codegen. Actually, it's already running, so I'm just going to close that out and start it from the beginning. So here we go. So once you've activated Playwright Codegen, you're going to have a regular browser window open, followed by the Playwright Inspector. So inside the regular browser window, you can put in a web page that you want to automate. So let's do SeleniumBase.io/demo page, which is an excellent demo page that has various items on it, such as buttons, drag and drop items, sliders, drop down elements, and more. So we've got the Playwright Inspector here. It fills in some information by default, and you'll see as you hover the mouse over various elements on that page that the selector will appear and the area will be highlighted so that you know what you're doing. So let's create a simple script. Let's go into this input field and type text1, and then let's go into this text area and type text2. And then let's go to the hover drop down and click link to. And then let's go click this button here, move the input slider to 100%, set this to 100% for the drop down, click a radio button, click this checkbox, click this checkbox in an iframe, and then do a drag and drop, although the model isn't letting me do that, so there might be a bug there with Playwright. So once you've got that, you'll see that a script is generated. You can select the target for your export. So for instance, if we do PyTest, you'll see a PyTest script generated. We're going to copy that into a blank file here, and it's going to be called recording.py. And now let's try running this script with Playwright. So let's do PyTest recording.py -- headed. And it's going to go through, and you'll notice that it froze because it can't do the hover action, so I'm just going to do it for it. There we go. So the hover action for hover and clicking is one of the actions that isn't recorded by Playwright when you're generating your script. So there are a few different things that it can't do, but you might see that SeleniumBase will be able to do those. So let's go back into the script that we had generated from that. So you'll see it has page.goto with the URL. You'll have various actions that it's going to perform, such as finding an element and then clicking it and then filling text inside it. And then you'll see that even though it didn't do the hover for the hover and click, it just got the click part recorded. And then you'll see that it clicked the button here. It moved the slider in this line here. The select drop down was here. Radio button, the checkbox, and it even handled the checkbox that was inside an iframe, which is something that SeleniumBase would have trouble with since sometimes it can't really record inside iframes depending on if it's a cross-origin iframe or something else. And then in the attempt to do a drag and drop where it wasn't really working, all it really did was click on the element. So that is the script that was generated there. Let's try to do something similar with the SeleniumBase Recorder. So I'm going to open up a new window for that, and let's do SBase Recorder. It's going to spin up this little window here. So let's say we call it new recording, and then we're going to record on SeleniumBase.io/demo_page, and we're going to click record. And now we're going to do the same action. So we're going to do text1, text2, hover click the link to, click the button, move the slider, select from the drop down, click a radio button, click a checkbox here, click a checkbox in an iframe, and then perform the drag and drop action here. And once that has been done, we're going to go into the script here, and you can see here it's using a PDB debugger. So we're going to type C and click enter to continue, and you'll see that it generated the script right here. So it has the open command where you're opening the URL, you're typing text into the text field, you'll see here is for text 2, and then it did a hover and click action there. So this is something that Playwright was not able to do, but SeleniumBase was. And then it clicked the button, it set the value, it's selected from a drop-down option. So this was from the My Slider, the set value thing here. And then I clicked a radio button, and then it clicked a checkbox. It didn't record the click for a checkbox in an iframe. However, it did get the drag and drop action here. So you can see that it was able to record a few things that the Playwright Recorder was not able to. So if we see the script there, you'll see that it wasn't recording all those things with the Playwright version of that script. All right, so let's try running it now that we've generated this. So let's go into this menu here and click the X to exit that. Now we're going to do Python new recording.py, and let's see if it did all those actions. There we go, performed it again. Let's run it one more time so that we can see it. All those actions were performed. And also SeleniumBase has a cool thing called demo mode. So if we do that --demo, it's going to run the same script, but then you're going to see all the actions that it was performing as it does this. So SeleniumBase has a few additional command line options, such as demo mode, that Playwright doesn't have, so that you can do more advanced things, for instance, highlighting elements as you're clicking on them. So that was that example. So that is comparing basic actions with Playwright and SeleniumBase. So let's exit out of this, and let's try a different example with Playwright. We're going to run Playwright Codegen again, but this time let's go to a website that has Cloudflare CAPTCHA protection around it. So let's do gitlab.com, and we're going to go there, and we're going to go to sign in, and you'll see here that there is a Cloudflare CAPTCHA appearing. So let's see if we click in here to record that. And let's see. Looks like nothing is happening. So it looks like it's not able to bypass that CAPTCHA with Playwright. All right, so that didn't work, but let's try it with SeleniumBase and see if that works. So let's go into the window and do SBase Recorder --UC for the stealth mode, and that stands for undetected Chrome driver mode. Let's go to gitlab.com and click record. And then it's going to open the GitLab page, and then we're going to click sign in. And let's see, bypasses that automatically. Also opened a new tab. And now let's activate the recorder again, because you can see that the red bar disappeared. So let's just do, because it's a new tab, let's do self.activate recorder. All right, so now the recorder mode is active for this tab. So let's just type name and then pass. And let's go in here and type C to continue. And you can see here it generated a script. So let's play that back and see if we're bypassing the CAPTCHA. Here we go. Bypassed automatically, and it did all that. Now if we want to slow it down, we can do playback in demo mode. So let's try that. Goes in here. And then it's doing it slowly. It clicks sign in, bypasses the CAPTCHA, types the name and the pass. So all that recording was done successfully using SeleniumBase. Playwright was not able to get through due to the anti-bot protection on the GitLab page. So this shows that SeleniumBase is able to record on websites when you need to bypass bot detection, whereas Playwright may have some trouble with that. So if we go back into the chart to see what the differences are between SeleniumBase and Playwright, you can see here both of these tools can record standard browser actions and record assertions. However, only SeleniumBase gives you the hover and click functionality for recording. Playwright Codegen is better with recording actions in iframes as well as in shadow root elements, which SeleniumBase may struggle on. However, SeleniumBase is able to record drag and drop actions as well as using stealth mode in order to bypass bot detection on websites that are using those services. So quick recap, calling Playwright Codegen from the command line spins up the Playwright Codegen tool where you'll have two windows, the web browser window and the Playwright Inspector, which will have the results of what is being recorded. And in order to spin up the SeleniumBase recorder in stealth mode, just type sbase recorder --uc from the command line, and you'll get the SeleniumBase recorder app where you can type in a URL to start recording on and click record, and that basically handles that. And note that all the instructions for this can be found on the SeleniumBase GitHub page. So if you go to github.com/SeleniumBase and scroll down, you'll see there is a recorder link which gives you full instructions for using the SeleniumBase recorder, as well as a link to another YouTube tutorial on that, and that will get you started with that. And if you're looking for information on Playwright Codegen, you should check out the Playwright section on GitHub. So let's go to Microsoft/Playwright, and I'm sure somewhere in this documentation is a Codegen tool. There we go, Codegen. Click there, and you have the test generator, and you'll have an intro and how to generate tests in VS Code. And these are all the instructions that you'll need for generating tests using Playwright Codegen. Although note that if you need stealth capabilities, then Playwright Codegen might not be the solution for you, in which case the SeleniumBase recorder with its stealth mode will have an easier time bypassing bot detection and recording on sites that try to block bots. And that's sbase recorder --uc. All right, well that concludes this tutorial. I hope you had a great time learning about these various code generation tools, and I will see you all next time.